We are not going to tolerate this. They've provoked, and it's led to these terrible outbursts across our country. And the response from the people is very, very clear. It is not in their name. They don't want that. That's not the society that they want. They want a multicultural, harmonious communities across our land, not the division and hatred that they sow.
So we're obviously going to kick off talking about the riots, and there's an emergency Cobra meeting that's due to take place later today. This follows a sixth day of violent disorder. Yesterday, rioters attacked hotels that they thought were housing asylum seekers. Cars were set on fire, and police cars were set on fire as well. Men were seen walking the streets with crowbars. Around 150 arrests have been made so far across the country. In Middlesbrough alone, officers detained 43 people. Andy McDonald is the Labour MP for Middlesbrough and Thornby East. He's joining in with a clean-up effort in the town this morning, and he joins me now on the show. Welcome to the show, Andy.
Thank you. Good morning.
Andy, I can see you are actually out on the street calling in to us. Tell us about the weekend, what you saw and what you've learnt.
Well, I mean, we saw those things, utterly horrific. People who came into the town from outside, they're not welcome. They should stay away. But there are also people from our town, and they attacked our people, their homes. They smashed windows, smashed cars up, actually set fire to vehicles, and ran rampant through the town, attacking our university and our newly built properties. I can't think of anything more ludicrous or ridiculous, but they did spread terror and fear through the town. So they are going to feel the full force of the law. And as Keir Starmer says, they are going to bitterly regret what they did. They will be held accountable for their actions. So they will face the consequences. But beautifully this morning, it was just incredible. From 6 o'clock this morning, there's been over 500 people, Middlesbrough people, turning out, really reflecting the true nature of our town, rejecting that hope and that hatred, and giving hope to people. Racism has no part in our society, and the people of Middlesbrough have spoken volumes this morning, and I'm so proud of them.
So what are you hoping will come from the Cobra meeting today? I mean, obviously, Keir Starmer gave a statement over the weekend where he said that there was going to be a very tough crackdown on the people causing the rioting. One of the issues is obviously we know our prisons are full. There'll be a lot of people being processed by the courts. Are you hoping to see sort of 24-hour courts, and you're hoping to see stiff sentences?
I think that's been the commitment, and I've got every faith in Keir Starmer as the former DPP that is exactly what's going to happen. It's not for me to second guess what measures will come out of the Cobra meeting, but I'm convinced that there's going to be a very direct and swift response. And I wait to see what that is. But these people should be very, very worried, because if they're not already in custody, they're soon going to be. And you're quite right. Our prisons are overcrowded. The capacity is stretched. There is capacity there, but that's where some of these people are going to end up. But they should have thought about that before they started on their just appalling behaviour. But they will bear the consequences of their actions. I've absolutely no doubt. So I'll be supportive of whatever comes out of the Cobra meeting.
Some people think that Parliament should be recalled. Do you think there's any merit in that idea?
Possibly. I think a lot of us, especially in towns like mine, are just concentrating on the immediate. It's been absolutely wonderful, not just to be with the volunteers who have done such an incredible job, but then to speak to the residents in the affected areas. This has so galvanized our community. Those who would seek to divide us, well, I've got a message for them. You've failed. What's happened? It's pulled people together in the most incredible way. I've never seen our streets so clean. People have worked so hard since the early hours to restore order, and they've done it. So my concentration is on the immediate. But if Parliament is recalled, I could see the justification for it, because there are certain voices in the chamber who need to answer for all the incitement and the fomenting of hatred and division over many, many years. They've succeeded. They've got what they want. But I've got a message for them. We will win. We will prevail. They will not.
Is that a message for Nigel Farage and Lee Anderson?
Oh, it's a direct message to those two people. They have been at this for such a long time, stirring up racial hatred These people are complete racists, and they'll be exposed for such as such continually over the next several weeks and months. We cannot allow their warped views to prevail in our country, and they have to understand that absolutely clearly. We are not going to tolerate this. They've provoked, and it's led to these terrible outbursts across our country. And the response from the people is very, very clear. It is not in their name. They don't want that. That's not the society that they want. They want a multicultural, harmonious communities across our land, not the division and hatred that they sow.
Well, thanks so much, Andy McDonald, Labour MP for Middlesbrough and Thornbury East, coming on to talk to us about the effects of the rioting in his constituency this weekend, and in a hopeful point, the incredible clean-up that's happening this morning, led by the community. We're now going to talk to Joe Mulhall. He's from a charity called Hope Not Hate, which does a lot of work researching who are behind riots like this, but also what happens online in terms of how disinformation is spread. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Hi, nice to see you.
Joe, what's your analysis from the perspective of Hope Not Hate of, first of all, who's behind these riots, and also how misinformation has helped, well, help provoke is probably the wrong phrase to use, but has been used to provoke these riots?
Well, there's a couple of things we've been noticing. I mean, obviously, we've seen maybe over 30 events that have kicked off around the country since that horrifying attack in Southport on Monday. And what we've noticed is that there is no single organizer to these events. There's no single group or individual that has been responsible for all of them, but rather they reflect the nature of the current far right. They are decentralized events created by and attended by individuals that are part of these massive online far right networks. So when we talk about who's responsible, there's a number of people responsible. Yes, we've seen well-known far right figures like Tommy Robinson, and even I would argue an MP in the form of Nigel Farage, that have spread misinformation and disinformation that have contributed to these events in recent days. But we have to look at why it is that so many people have believed this misinformation. Why is it that so many people have looked at what's happened and seen what they've read online, and they've gone and attempted to burn down a hotel with asylum seekers in Rotherham, while they've attacked mosques, while they've committed widespread racist attacks? And while the far right is fundamentally important to understanding what we're seeing, we also have to look at why people believe this. And a lot of that comes from much more mainstream places. Here we have to look at the responsibility of elements of our media, even our politicians. You know, Suella Braverman talking about invasions in the House of Parliament have created a climate of anti-migrant hatred, anti-asylum seeker hatred, anti-Muslim hatred, which has meant that when individuals see this misinformation that is being spread by well-known far-right figures, they believe it.
Brilliant. Well, that's Joe Mulhall from the group Hope Not Hate, giving us some insight into why he thinks and why his organisation thinks these protests have been encouraged.